The Women's March movement was supposed to bring down the president, the Trump administration. Instead, it may not survive to the second anniversary of his inauguration. Leaders of the group are facing growing accusations of anti-Semitism and attacks for their ties to Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. Activist Linda Sarsour recently denied ever having met Farrakhan, although she spoke alongside him at an event in 2015. Cracks are showing today. The Chicago branch of the Women's March said it will not be holding a rally this January. Allie Beth Stuckey is a podcast host. She joins us now. Allie, how are you? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing well. Thanks, Tammy.
Look, we've been hearing about this for a while. It's been very, very public. We know that one of the founders, a woman who lives in Hawaii, who started this movement with a Facebook post, was the first one to come out and say, look, this is not what we stand for. There needs to be a change in leadership because, in a way, she's argued it's been hijacked. And now we see this continuing. There's supposed to be a big event in January. Where do you think all of this is heading at this point?
Well, look, Perez, Sarsour, and Mallory, three of the organization's founders, have been running away from these accusations of anti-Semitism really since the beginning of the founding of the Women's March, and they are unable to escape them. And the reason for that is because of their association with Louis Farrakhan, who, as we know, speaks of the Jewish people in subhuman terms, talks about how Jews are satanic, they're really the enemy of the people. Mallory, in particular, has been a very big and public fan of Louis Farrakhan. And also the tablet expose that just came out that cited some of the very troubling anti-Semitic comments that they made when the organization was founded, talking about the Jewish people's role in white supremacy and oppression of the black people. And so going forward with more of this information coming out, women of color and other people in the organization saying, hey, this is not okay, I'm just not sure that the Women's March can survive.
Well, when I was on the left, we were always aware of people on the far left, or people who did not mean our movement well, were trying to hijack certain things we were doing. And if you had experience, you would know what to watch for. Clearly, something happened here that, while, of course, all issues are women's issues, what we don't do and what we don't embrace, certainly, I don't think any American of decency embraces racism or Jew hatred. I don't know how difficult is it to disavow Louis Farrakhan, which they have not been able to do. This sends a message that really has nothing to do with women's rights or women's lives or the welfare of women at all. And it really does kind of damage that many women were looking to this march or to this movement to speak for them. But Allie, we also saw some division when the march refused to embrace or allow pro-life women to join them in that march. So it was really very political from the beginning when it comes to liberalism or left-wing politics versus women's welfare.
Right. And while I disagree with much of the politics, if not all of the politics of the Women's March, I do stand by their right to peacefully protest behind leaders that they can trust and actually tout the organization's values. And while, like I said, I don't agree with them, they do say that they are for tolerance, they are for inclusion, they are for, like you said, women's empowerment and women's rights. But I don't see how it is actually for those things if they don't include pro-life women, if they don't include Jewish women, or they don't treat Jewish women the same. But this is the insanity of intersectionality, this oppression
and identity
that
politics
we're seeing from the far left.
You know, it is.
Exactly.
It's the issue of identity politics.
Even the left.
Yeah, and this is where it gets off center here. I'm the president of Independent Women's Voice. There's also, though, at this march in Washington, there's going to be a number of different counter-protests, if you will, including from the IW groups, really making it clear that all women matter, right? Whether you're Jewish or not, or Christian, it transcends religion, it transcends race, it transcends ethnicity, economics. This is what makes us sisters, and yet we don't even still have that conversation when this movement, as it was being seen or described as being the epitome of a movement. So we'll find out. This is an important thing to discuss, and American people are going to be able to make their decision. Thank you, Allie, for joining us today.